As is my tradition on the Sunday after Christmas, I would like to share with you this story that I found online a couple years ago. Set in a small town in North Dakota in 1943, it's a story from yesteryear, when times and things were a little different. And after doing a little more research, I have come to discover that it's based on a true story. And, like everything else, you can buy the book on Amazon. It's called If You're Missing the Baby Jesus by Jean Getson. Many, many years ago, about a week before Christmas, our family bought a new nativity scene. When we unpacked it, we found 2 figures of the baby Jesus. Someone must have packed this wrong, my mother said, counting out the figures. We have 1 Joseph, 1 Mary, 3 wise men, 3 shepherds, 2 lambs, a donkey, a cow, an angel, and 2 babies. Oh dear, I suppose some set down at the store is missing a baby Jesus because we have 2. She turned to my brother and me. You 2 run back down to the store and tell the manager that we have an extra Jesus. Tell him to put a sign on the remaining boxes saying that if a set is missing a baby Jesus, call 7126. Put on your warm coats. It's freezing cold out there. The manager of the store copied down my mother's message. And the next time we were in the store, we saw the cardboard sign that said, if you're missing baby Jesus, call 7126. All week long, we waited for someone to call. Surely, we thought, someone was missing that important figurine. Each time the phone rang, my mother would say, I'll bet that's about Jesus. But it never was. My father tried to explain, there are thousands of those scattered all over the country, and the figurine could be missing from a set in Florida or Texas or California. These packing mistakes happen all the time. Just put the extra Jesus back in the box and forget about it. Put baby Jesus back in the box? What a terrible thing to do, wailed my brother and I. Surely someone will call, my mother said. We'll just keep the 2 of them together in the manger until someone calls. When no call had come by 5 o'clock on Christmas Eve, my mother insisted that Father just run down to the store to see if there were any sets left. You can see them right through the window over the counter, she said. If they're all gone, then I'll know someone is bound to call tonight. Run down to the store, Father thundered. It's 15 below zero out there. Oh, Daddy, we'll go with you, my brother and I said, and began to put on our coats. Father gave a long sigh and headed for the front closet. I can't believe I'm doing this, he muttered. We children ran ahead as Father reluctantly walked out in the cold. I got to the store first and pressed my nose up to the store window. They're all gone, Daddy, I shouted. Every set must be sold. Hooray, my brother said. The mystery will now be solved tonight. Father heard the news still half a block away and immediately turned on his heel and headed back home. When we got back into the house, we noticed that Mother was gone, and so was the extra baby Jesus figurine. Someone must have called, and she went to deliver the figurine, Father responded, pulling off his boots. You kids get ready for bed while I wrap Mother's present. Then the phone rang. Father yelled, "Answer the phone and tell them we found a home for the baby Jesus." But it was Mother calling with instructions for us to come to 205 Chestnut Street immediately and bring 3 blankets, a box of cookies, and some milk. "Now what has she gotten us into?" my father groaned as we bundled up again. 205 Chestnut? Why, that's across town. Wrap that milk up good in the blankets, or it will turn to ice before we get there. Why can't we just get on with Christmas? It's probably 20 below out there now, and the wind is picking up. Of all the crazy things to do on a night like this. When we got to the house at 205 Chestnut Street, it was the darkest one on the block. Only a tiny light burned in the living room, and the moment we set foot on the porch steps, my mother opened the door and shouted, "They're here! Oh, thank God you got here, Ray. You kids, take those blankets into the living room and wrap up the little ones on the couch. I'll take the milk and cookies." "Would you mind telling me what's going on, Ethel?" my father asked. "We have just walked through below zero weather with the wind in our faces all the way." "Never mind that now," my mother interrupted. "There isn't any heat in this house, and this young mother is so upset she doesn't know what to do. Her husband walked out on her, and those poor little children will have a very bleak Christmas, so don't you complain. I told her you could fix that oil furnace in a jiffy." Mother strode off to the kitchen to warm the milk, while my brother and I wrapped up the 5 little children who were huddled together on the couch. The children's mother explained to my father that her husband had run off taking bedding, clothing, and almost every piece of furniture. But she still had been doing all right until the furnace broke down. "I've been doing washing and ironing for people and cleaning to 5 and dime," she said. "I saw your number every day there on those boxes on the counter. When the furnace went out, that number kept going through my mind, 7162, 7162. Said on the box that if a person was missing Jesus, they should call you. That's how I knew you were good Christian people willing to help folks. I figured that maybe you would help me too. So I stopped at the grocery store tonight and I called your missus. I'm not missing Jesus, mister, because I sure love the Lord, but I am missing heat, and I have no money to fix that furnace." Okay, said Father. "You've come to the right place. Now, let's see. You've got a little oil burner over there in the dining room. Shouldn't be too hard to fix. Probably just a clogged flue. I'll look it over and see what it needs." My mother came into the living room carrying a plate of cookies and warm milk. As she set the cups down on the coffee table, I noticed the figure of the baby Jesus lying in the center of the table. It was the only sign of Christmas in the house. The children stared wide-eyed with wonder at the plate of cookies my mother set before them. Father finally got the oil burner working, but said, "You'll need more oil. I'll make a few calls tonight and get some." "Yes, sir, you've come to the right place," Father grinned. On the way home, Father did not complain about the cold weather and had barely set foot inside the door when he was on the phone. "Ed, hey Ed, how are you, Ed?" "Yes, Merry Christmas to you too." "Say, Ed, we have kind of an unusual situation here. I know you've got that pickup truck. Do you still have some oil in that barrel on your truck?" "You do?" By this time, the rest of the family was pulling clothes out of our closets and toys off the shelves. It was long after our bedtime when we were wrapping gifts. The pickup came. On it were chairs, 3 lamps, blankets, and gifts. Even though it was 30 below, Father let us ride along in the back of the truck. No one ever did call about the missing figure in the nativity set. But as I grow older, I realize that it wasn't a packing mistake at all. Jesus saves. That's what he does. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. That was certainly the case for that family in the story. It couldn't have been more bleak for that mother and her children, alone in the dark with no heat. But she knew to reach out. And as she did, one family and others responded with the true love of God in their hearts. The true light which enlightens everyone was coming into the world. It was certainly in that family as they responded to someone in need. But to all who receive him, who believed in his name, he gave power to become children of God. And that's what they became, didn't they? Children of God. Acting in the Spirit of God to bring God's love a little closer to someone who needed it so much. And it is through baptism that we become children of God. And that's what we celebrate this morning as we welcome Ava Rose into the family of God. As the prayer book reminds us, through the sacrament of baptism, God adopts us as God's children and makes us members of Christ's body. It is through the water of baptism that we receive the forgiveness of sin and find union with Christ in his death and resurrection. And we live into this new life through the living out of our baptismal covenant that we will renew along with Ava Rose this morning. That covenant that teaches us and guides us as to what it means to live our lives as the children of God. So how do we act as God's children? How do we bring God's love to those who are hurting? How do we do this together as the people of God, as the people of St. Paul's? For that's what it means to be the church. That's what it means to be the children of God, to reach out in love and service to others. We can have the most beautiful liturgy. We could have the grandest church building. But if we are not reaching out in love and service, we are nothing. Let us make a commitment to redouble our efforts in the coming year to make God's love known in our community, in our families, and in our lives. The new year is right around the corner. Let us work here and now to be a people enlivened with the love of God, that we too may work to make God known. It doesn't have to be just at Christmas. We can work to make God's love known in all we do. In a simple gesture or a kind word. Something we may do unthinkingly, but it could make a huge difference in the life of another. Some call it paying it forward when we do something for someone else because of what we have received. And what we have received, and what have we received? The love of God to shine in our hearts. The Word became flesh and lived among us, full of grace and truth. What greater gift could we ask or imagine? And now we are called to share that love with those we meet this Christmastide and always. Let us pray. God of grace and truth, whose word brings light to birth in the heart of a darkening world which fears a love it cannot name. May flesh be blessed and born anew by a truth which leaves the heavens and walks the waiting earth. Through Jesus Christ, the Word incarnate. Amen.